You're listening to Four Things to Know, a WCCO daily news podcast.
Today is Wednesday, March 18th. I'm Maria Lizignoli.
And I'm Johnny Connor. Thank you for listening to Four Things to Know.
Our top story today. Police are continuing to investigate a heartbreaking scene in the North Metro. A woman and a boy were shot and killed early this morning in the city of Lexington. Police say it was an all-out effort to capture the man they believe to be responsible. Adam Duxter reports from Lexington. You'll also hear from Tierney Peters, the communications coordinator at the Anoka Sheriff's Department.
In this city of just over 2,000 or so people, this one hits not just this community, but the community as a whole very, very hard. People who live on this street telling us that this has had everyone who lives near this place impacted. Police are still here processing this crime scene. They've been here now for hours. And they say, again, this call started inside the house that they're working at. When they got here, they say they found a woman and a young boy shot inside the house and killed. Again, this happened just before 1 a.m. this morning, and police say they found those two inside the house, but from there it was an all-out effort to find the person they believed responsible. And it took drones and even the help of a canine, but they say they eventually found that man they believe responsible nearby. It took 5 different police departments and 2 sheriff's offices, creating a massive response scene in this small town neighborhood. This morning, a representative from the Anoka County Sheriff's Office shared with us just how hard that she thinks this is going to hit this community.
Lexington is not a big community, and something that affects one part of Lexington, it's probably going to feel like the whole city feels like it's in their backyard. And so these people who sadly lost their lives in this incident, their loss is going to be felt, not only by their loved ones and their friends, but people who may not have personally known them but are in that community. These crimes are heartbreaking.
As for that man believed to be responsible, we're told right now he is in the hospital himself. As for the woman and that young boy, we're told it could take some time before their names become public. Police are sharing with us today, though, that they do believe this was targeted. They don't think it was random. And they say with that man in custody, they don't think there's any more of a threat to anyone in this community. But again, just a heartbreaking story all around. A woman and a young boy shot and killed here in this small town north of the metro.
Number 2, for the second day in a row, a Minnesota school district is dealing with a potential threat. South St. Paul Public Schools switched to an e-learning day today because of what police said is a potential threat of violence directed towards schools in the district. Police say the district transitioned to that e-learning day out of an abundance of caution while police investigate this potential threat. At about noon today, police did say they arrested a 29-year-old St. Paul man. They say he made a specific threat of violence against the schools, but they did not elaborate. Police also said the investigation would continue. Today's threat comes after yesterday, when we told you that the Rosemount, Apple Valley, and Eagan School District closed for the day because of several voicemail threats left at their schools. Police say those threats came from out of the state and are not credible. The FBI has taken over the investigation, and the kids are back in school today.
Number 3. We're looking into money problems at Hennepin Healthcare and the state's top Trauma One hospital, HCMC. Today, lawmakers in the Minnesota House Taxes Committee are hearing from representatives from Hennepin County Medical Center, Hennepin County, the Minnesota Department of Health, the Minnesota Hospital Association, and North Memorial. Hennepin Health thinks it will be operating at a $40 to $50 million loss this year and expects to lose $1.7 billion in revenue during the next 10 years because of Medicaid disenrollment and declining direct payments. The man who directs the health economics program at the Minnesota Department of Health testified this morning. Stefan Gildemeister thinks more people will lose their insurance coverage as premiums rise.
There is no question in my mind that more individuals will become uninsured. Some of them will delay care. Some of them will cut their drugs. More will pay out of pocket. Some will request charity care. There's no question in my mind that it will raise charity care and bad debt probably across the whole industry.
Hennepin County hopes the Minnesota legislature will allow them to extend and increase the sales tax that paid for Target Field, and then use that money to help keep HCMC open.
Now to your fourth thing to know today, relief for thousands of Somalis with federal protection that allows them to live in the United States, many here in Minnesota. A federal judge ruled they can keep their temporary protected status for now. But immigration attorneys warn a different kind of pressure is building. Our Barrett Leone has been following this story closely all day today, and she has more from the Whipple Federal Building.
They're raising the alarm, they're sounding the alarm on what they're calling Somali rocket docket. They're claiming that Somali asylum cases are being fast-tracked through court with virtual hearings and out-of-state judges. Evangeline Dwayne Mullaney represents 150 Somali asylum seekers. She says in the next 6 months, she now has 40 hearings scheduled, all of them Somali asylum cases. She says expediting these cases is dangerous because they're very complex, often requiring months, if not years, to gather evidence, secure documentation, and prepare clients.
I absolutely believe that Somali immigrants are being targeted. What's happening is, unlawful, that there is some kind of, concerted effort to deny Somali asylum seekers the due process that they're entitled to.
Federal officials say there's no fast-tracking immigration cases. The Executive Office for Immigration Review says they're required to decide asylum applications within 180 days. Court observers are also bringing up concerns, saying that they are being shut out of these hearings that are happening. And last week, they did bring up a federal lawsuit against the Department of Justice on restrictions to them being in court.
Those are the four things to know today. Now let's check in on our next weather forecast.
Hi, I'm Next Weather meteorologist Lisa Meadows. Tonight, rather mild, down to just 33 our low tonight, 45 tomorrow, but we will have some fog in place overnight through tomorrow morning.
And now, here's more to know.
The son of a former Minnesota lawmaker is set to learn his fate this afternoon. This is in connection to a crash that killed 5 young women back in 2023. Derek Thompson has already been sentenced to nearly 59 years. That was in connection to the state charges. Today is Thompson's federal sentencing. The federal charges include 1 count of possessing with intent to distribute fentanyl, 1 count of possessing a firearm as a felon, and 1 count of carrying a firearm during and in relation to a drug trafficking crime. That's according to the U.S. Attorney's Office in Minnesota. The sentencing is expected to happen at 2 this afternoon. Look for updates on our later newscasts and online at WCCO.com.
The current 2-year state budget is set, but Minnesota Governor Tim Walz is proposing spending a little more on some other key priorities this session, too. Yesterday, the governor announced his supplemental budget plan, which includes $34 million on first-time homebuyers' down payment assistance. It also includes a new tax on tech companies to pay for workforce development amid AI disruption. And it expands tax credits for child care costs that the governor's office said would benefit more than 100,000 families.
We will not get everything I want, I'm sure of that. But the legislature understands we're focused on very common themes here. I hear the Republicans say they're focusing on affordability. Well, if that's true, this child dependent care credit is where you need to go right off the bat.
Any supplemental budget needs lawmakers' sign-off in order for it to pass, and they have their own ideas for this year as well. Everything will need bipartisan support in a divided Capitol.
Minnesota lawmakers and advocates are pushing a new plan to tax social media companies and digital advertising. At a Capitol press conference this morning, supporters of the bill say it would end a long-standing sales tax exemption on digital ads and billboard space, something they argue gives big tech companies an unfair advantage. Representative Liz Lee, who authored the bill, says the change would help level the playing field for local businesses while bringing in more revenue for the state. Advocates with the group We Make Minnesota say that money could go toward funding basic needs like education, healthcare, and infrastructure. Here's more from Representative Lee this morning.
It's pretty clear that Minnesotans are paying their fair share of taxes when billion-dollar corporations are not. This bill is intended to fix that so that we have the funding we need to invest in schools, healthcare, infrastructure, childcare, local government and to improve the lives of all Minnesotans. House File 4343 would ensure that our tax base captures the growth of some of the largest, most profitable corporations which are currently exempt.
Federal funding has been secured for the largest public works project in Minnesota history. Governor Walz announced Minnesota has secured more than $1 billion in federal investments to replace the Blatnick Bridge. That bridge runs between Duluth and Superior, Wisconsin. The bridge opened back in 1961 and serves about 33,000 vehicles each day while supporting over $3.7 billion in goods movement. Right now, the bridge is rated to be in poor condition and it's nearing the end of its service life.
I'm trying to do quick math right now, but if it was built in 61, that would make it 60 years old.
65, I think?
65 years old.
Yeah.
That's pretty old for a bridge, and it's such a crucial one connecting Wisconsin to Minnesota up there.
I didn't know. Yeah, I wonder what the average service life is.
For a bridge like that. Either way, 65 seems pretty old. That looks good. All right, listen to this next story. State lawmakers are considering a bill that would allow alcohol in nursing homes. It's called the Grandparents Happy Hour Bill, and it would permit elder care facilities to serve alcoholic drinks to residents and their guests. Now, these drinks could be served during events or activities that were scheduled in advance. Before the facilities could start pouring, though, there will be a few steps to take, like letting the state know what their plans were. The bill is sponsored by Republican Representative Danny Nadeau. Those in opposition warn the state to be cautious, as Minnesota has one of the largest rates of binge drinking in the nation. Johnny, thoughts?
I'm all for it.
You know what? Let Grandma drink.
Maria just looked at me with a smile on her face. I'm like, what am I supposed to say? Of course, I love this. Let's talk sports. Big wins for both the Wild and the Wolves last night. We haven't said that in a while, that they both win on the same night. But the Wild won 4-3 in overtime in Chicago. Now, those two teams, ironically, they play again tomorrow night in St. Paul. For the Wolves, they took down the Suns last night, and they had Ant out of the lineup, so that's a good win. They also play tonight, however. They host Utah at 7. Also tonight, the Frost are back in action. They host Ottawa at 6 in St. Paul. A lot of sports going on right now.
No kidding.
Yeah, let's stick with women's hockey for a second, but we'll move to the Gophers. Head coach Brad Frost, he was fired after a long tenure. He coached the team for 19 seasons, winning 4 national titles. The Gophers dropped out in the tournament earlier to Northeastern this year, so a long run is over for the Gopher women's. Maria, and more Gopher hockey news. This is from our Mike Max, breaking as we record. He says the U of M and head coach Bob Motzko for the men's hockey team, they will announce that they have mutually agreed to part ways this afternoon. So another coach out at the University of Minnesota.
That's pretty big news.
Huge news. He coached the USA World Junior team a couple of times, but Motzko, he came from St. Cloud State. He's been with the program for a while now, but they had a really disappointing season this year. So a lot of changes, but Maxey says they're mutually agreeing to part ways, so he'll have more tonight in sports. But there's going to be 2 new hockey coaches for the Gophers this year.
Lots of change.
It's time to take a breath with your Daily Bright Spot.
So you talked about, Johnny, how the Timberwolves star Anthony Edwards is out because he hurt his knee. Well, before he did that, he got to shoot some hoops with former President Barack Obama. Yeah, take a listen to this.
Oh, you want some of this? I seen what's going on with your jump shot. I remember you telling me you're the truth.
Y'all better stand down. I'm the truth.
We're gonna see right now.
Ray Charles can see this.
I'm not sure you got the range here. That's money. Oh, come on! What do you call somebody who doesn't mind losing?
I don't know what you call him.
A loser.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I ain't never been a part of him. I don't know what's wrong.
There was this viral video back when Obama was president of Team USA meeting the president, and Anthony Edwards was on the team, and Obama says something like, "What do you think of this guy?" referring to Anthony Edwards, and Edwards goes, "I'm the truth." And then...
So that's what we just heard.
That's what we just heard, a snippet of that. And then people were making fun of him. Obama was kind of making fun of him for saying that, and in this older video. And so that's what they were referring to in this new video that Obama posted. And they're playing hoops, they're playing Connect 4, and Ant's like, I've never been called a loser. His confidence is unmatched.
He is so funny.
He
Anthony
really
Edwards.
is.
I mean, like, you never know what he's gonna say at a presser or anything like that.
Yeah, he's kind of cocky too. You're kind of like,
100%.
Maybe simmer down, Ant.
It's what Minnesota needs. We need that personality.
You know what? We need that confidence. We need that person. Exactly.
Our sports teams, everyone views it as like flyover country. So Ant, he's bringing some attention.
Exactly. And attention from a former president. So the whole reason Obama put this video out is because it was posted by the Obama Foundation announcing the opening of the Obama Presidential Center. It'll be on Chicago's South Side, and it's set to open in June for the public. But I do wonder why he chose to speak with Ant. Like, Ant's not from Chicago.
Ant's really well known, though.
That's true. That's
and
true.
They seem to be friendly.
I know, and they were being silly together. You should go watch the video. It's kind of cool. Well, thank you so much for listening here to 4 Things to Know with Johnny Connor. I'm Maria Lizignoli, and we're here at the news you need every weekday afternoon by 3 o'clock.
Listen to 4 Things to Know, a WCCO daily news podcast, wherever you get your podcasts.
I'm Maria Lizignoli, and this podcast comes to you from the WCCO podcast studio.
I'm Johnny Connor, and this is where you'll find the latest news of the day with us on 4 Things to Know.
I'm Marielle Mose, and I bring you the stories behind the female athletes redefining the game on women in sports.
I'm Adam Duxter. Join me for a deep dive into faith and what it means to Minnesotans around the state on Bigger Than Belief.
Stay in the know on the go with the WCCO podcast studio. Go to WCCO.com/podcasts.